The experiences given to us as children begin to make us who we are with others as adults. They're the unexpected building blocks of our character and the very foundation of our commitment.
The dinner table was a unique experience at my house. First of all, we had a dinner table. Secondly, everyone was expected to be at the dinner table. These are important rules of the road, I guess. My father would always serve everyone, and you couldn't eat until everyone was served. And he would say, "We will now say grace," and we would all say grace, and then we could eat. And that was a very standard ritual that happened every night of every week, except for Sunday when it happened at 2 in the afternoon.
I just recall my parents putting on a Count Basie or a Duke Ellington and dancing in the living room, and we would say, "Daddy, kiss Mama, Daddy." He would kiss me. Oh man, it was just, oh my God.
Whenever I would share a dream or idea that something I wanted to do, my parents always asked, "How would you do that?"
On Friday nights, when Twilight Zone was, of course, all the rage, he would make us donuts from scratch, and it was wonderful.
And she was shelling peas, and there was a metal pot, and I still remember the drop of the peas in the metal pot. So it's almost like I have a bass drum, the drop of the peas in the middle, and it's still inside me.
The fires of commitment burn deep, kindled in our earliest childhood memories and fueled by people we meet and doors we open as we live. But in a world that seems to spin ever faster on its axis, commitment to a common good is no longer intimate, but complex. It includes people you'll never know or see, problems you'll never solve, and dreams you'll leave to others to see realized. And yet it's those who sustain their commitment in spite of discouraging times and events who offer a vision of how each of us can make a difference. Valerie Russell directs the Office for Church and Society at the United Church of Christ in Cleveland. The inspiration she passes on to others came from a strength of spirit forged in the civil rights movement.
One of my friends says that people whose hope is weak settle for what is. And I think it's moments of the growth of hope that don't allow any of us to settle, even in the face of the reality of what is changed or what is not changed.
A lot of people, they're breathing futility and despair. They pass by homeless folks, "I will work for nothing," or they see a lot of the homeless on the streets, and it creates this kind of huge and sagging feeling of, oh, there's nothing I can do.
These kids are homeless, living in a transient hotel because the shelters are full. Most of them have had little imagination of home. Jeanie Kortum-Sturmer began a home away from homelessness because she recognized the children's hunger for childhood amidst all the problems of homelessness.
These are kids who have never seen an horizon. I mean, imagine that they're never able to study themselves by gazing that far off because their lives are so crowded and they're living in a radius of maybe 3 blocks. Imagine that.
Jeannie's own understanding of the need for horizon was deepened when she met her adopted daughter's mother, a woman who'd lost herself to heroin and yet shared something that became Jeannie's inspiration.
She got addicted to heroin very early and she had no place to rest, and I think heroin was her resting place. And I began to see in her some spirit that was huge, and that should have been savored at an early age. After she died, it was when I did a lot of thinking about what I wanted to do, and she was definitely the beginning of the beach house. It's all around the notion of home and family. I mean, there have been times when you know what's going on with these kids, how many dead bodies they've seen, how neglected they've been, how just the things that they go through in their lives. But when the kids are there, there's this humanity where our so-called homies instruct the new kids There's only two rules. One is have fun, and the other is be nice to each other.
I'm gonna make some hot chocolate.
The beach house kindles joy and just kind of being wide open to life itself.
You don't have to worry about no problems or worry about anything, just can have fun.
Want a bucket?
Cézanne, when he painted peaches, he would have this nonchalant line at the side of the peach, and it's just this gash of light, and it conveyed all that was peach and all that was roundness, and that's what I think the experience is for the kids. It's light. With some of these kids, there's not the outlines of self. They're so unacknowledged. And homeless children, it's like this umbrella term that's very convenient, but it's much more emotional than just lack of architecture. It's truly an emotional homelessness that they don't even live within themselves. And so it's extremely powerful when you put your hands around their face and you say, Chris, you are such a good big brother, or Jasenia, that was a beautiful bouquet you made, or whatever it is. And they're seen. In that moment, they're seen. And what you do, I think in those moments, I think you kindle self. I think that's what you do.
Look, it's going over there! It's still going! Is that what you was going up there?
I think it's going to go all the way to the water.